Welcome back. When I start a, an Excel file, I get this form. Now you are not able to see the workbook in the background. So if I enter the data here, for example, if I write here Tom and a mobile number, let's say 9810081867, and I click on submit, this data is transferred to that worksheet, but you can't view it. So if I close this now, you can see, you can observe that the data has been properly entered into this worksheet. Now the question here was, is there a way to hide the workbook in the background so people only see the user form? Now I'll show you how to execute this using Excel VBA step by step. Let's click on the Developer tab, Visual Basic, and in the Microsoft Visual Basic for Applications window, we click on Insert, User Form, and here we create the user form that you just saw. So we create a label, right click on it, Properties, we let the name be label 1, but we change the caption to name. Then we take a text box so that the user can enter a name here. Take another label. We call this label mobile or mobile number. We insert a text box next to it where the user can enter a mobile number. Okay. Then we take a command button. We leave the name as it is and we change the caption to submit. We take another command button and call it close. We need to do this so that we can see our data once we have finished entering the data. So the first thing we want is when the user opens the workbook, for example, which is saved as user form data, then we don't want the application to be visible. We just want the user form 1 to be visible. Okay, so we will double click on this workbook. Instead of general here, we'll click on workbook. So it gives us the open procedure, and between these two lines of code we will write the following code: application dot visible, that is false. So when the user form fires up, we won't see the Excel window, but we need to see the user form. So we will say user form 1 dot show, so that this user form is shown to us and we can enter our data. Now let's go back to our user form. I took the name here user form 1 because this is the name, user form 1. You can see here also. Okay, so we use this name to access this method. Alright, so we go to user form, click on view and click on object. So we have to now code the submit button. So I'll double click on this and we get 2 lines of code for the command button 1. Okay. Now we'll write the code here. We will start with application dot display alerts, and that we will set to false. We don't want Excel to give out any message where the user needs to click, because then our automation will not be perfect. Now we want the data to go into our worksheet row by row. So we will first find the next blank row where the data will go, and that we know already using eRow. So eRow will be assigned the value active sheet dot cells parenthesis open rows dot count. We count the rows. Our column is 1, that's where our name is, dot end XL up dot offset So what we are basically doing is finding the last row that is used and then going one row down by using the offset function. So 1 is the row, comma 0, that is the column, dot row. Okay, so that gives us the next blank row for data entry. Now in our cells e row, comma 1, we enter the value from text box 1 dot text. Okay, and in the column 2, which is cells e row, comma 2, we get the value from text box 2 dot text, because that will give us our mobile number. Once we have done that, we want both the text boxes to become blank for the next entry in case we wish to do that. So text box 1 dot text, that will become blank. Alright, similarly text box 2 dot text, that will also become blank. Now before we close the workbook, we wish to save the file. So we'll say active workbook dot save as, and we will just give the name of the file. Our name of the file when we started out is user form data.xlsms. Yeah, even if you had book 1, you just give the name. So user form data and quotes close. You don't need to write .xlsm because Excel VBA or Excel will do the work. Now we have started with application display alerts false. We will now make it true so that we get our alerts if there are any. So application dot display alerts, that will be assigned the value true in case there are some serious errors. Okay, so this is done, and now we'll go back to our object and we will double click on close, and here when we close our user form, we can write application dot visible is true. This is to see our data. In case we don't do this, we will always get our form only and we will not be able to view our data. So we have created this button. Later on, of course, you can modify this code or the form according to your needs. Okay, and we will unload the form. So unload me. Me refers to the user form. Alright, so our code is complete. Now let's run this. So when we click on the run button, at the moment you're seeing this because this was on. So I'm just going to show you one example and then do the complete process again. So let's say Farhan, and we write a number, and we'll say submit. And there you see the data goes in the right place. If we say close, this file will be automatically saved, form will be unloaded. So let's close this. So I'm going to exit the file now. Okay, so file close. So now I've opened the file user form data, and as you can see, you can observe only the form. The Excel workbook is not visible. So I'm going to write here, for example, Nancy, and I'll write a mobile number. And click on submit. Now you see these two text boxes are cleared. I can enter another data if I want, but I'll just do a close. And now you can see that Nancy has also been entered properly. So in this manner, we can avoid showing the user the Excel workbook, and of course we can later on also avoid showing him the complete data if you wish so. Alright, you will need some modification, but this answers the question, is there a way to hide the workbook in the background so people only see the user form? I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.